And we are live with Game 2 of the first semifinal of the Finals of Challengers Cup here. I'm once again joined here by Verbulosity, got it right this time here, is Dcypher Esports, looking to come back from a Game 1 loss, as VWS played incredibly decisively in that last one.
Yeah, eliminating the Hunbats, you don't want any of that shenanigans. Janus being taken off the table as well. I not very surprised after how effective both of those were that game. Hell and the Aphrodite band, once again, that's a trend that we saw last time as well. Thor is actually going to be picked up here for VWS Gaming as their first pick. That's the first time we've seen him today. Zhong getting through, though. I'm very surprised that Zhong got through, considering how effective he was last game.
Especially considering how well Wlfy played at him last game as well. Soul also coming through for VWS at this point here as well. So this is going to be incredibly solid as now Zhong also that final lock in here from them.
So, very tanky Dcypher are... Oh god, I suddenly goaded there for a second. Yes. So, Dcypher are very tanky right now. They have the Zhong, they have the Jingxian. That's a lot of passive healing and active healing as well. VWS, though, have a good amount of CC, ranged CC, between the Thor and the Agni, but they also have Cripple. And that is going to be a pain in the backside for not only the Soul, but as well as Jingxian. Jingxian won't be able to blink in, he won't be able to use the double leap to go in for a Whirlwind of Rage of Steel either. So that is going to be a huge problem. But going into the next bans here, so two Hunters being taken off the board.
Yeah, I mean, well, at this point, the Hunters are things left to pick up here. Both sides have a support. They've got a jungler. They've got the mid laners here. We have an ADC on the side of VWS Gaming, but Soul can be played as such a flex role that you can't really count on either one here. So a Hunter ban is very, very understandable and reasonable at this point here to come out of Dcypher.
Yeah, but yeah, we've seen Soul in pretty much every single role bar support in challenges. We've seen Soul mid, Soul jungle, Soul carry, and Soul solo. That has happened. And because of that, she's almost like a Neith in that way, in terms of the raw flex you can do. Of course, Neith can't go jungle, but she can go mid and she can go solo. As we're seeing, Medusa will be picked up, so Soul won't be the carry this game. Well done.
Soul not going to be the carry here. Still coming out of the mid lane this time around, so Medusa actually ended up as the AD carry this time around. Likely to be paired here. If they want to do something weird, we could see a Zhong as a solo laner, looking for sustain in the last second they want to do the combo here, but I think we've got our duo set up already here. Now, Dcypher hovering on their next series of picks here. Cupid currently hovered on this time around here.
I want to see what they do
locked
here.
In, actually. There we go. Cupid will be locked in.
That's smart. I like that. I like the fact we're seeing a Cupid because of the cripple. I want to see what they do for the other pick here. And it's going to be, yeah, like you said, the Ra. I like the fact we're seeing cripple coming out in spades by VWS in response to the amount of mobility that Dcypher possess. Well, not less mobility, more ability moves that have mobility. So things like, the Eviscerate on Medusa, that dash. And of course, we're seeing, Xingqian, he won't be able to leap if he's crippled. I don't believe Soul can activate Disapparate if she's crippled, although I could be wrong on that, don't quote me on that. And Chaac, of course, he can't activate Torrent if he's crippled, so that's going to be a major pain in the backside during fights. Although, of course, Chaac could just silence you either way. So, overall, early game, VWS have a pretty good advantage, although team fight-wise, Dcypher could really be a pain in the backside for them.
It really could be that way, and both sides have a lot of ways just shutting the other down. But, like I said last game, unfortunately, we've got a spectator countdown to just get through and make it to this game. So, we'll be right back with Smite Games Challenger Cup, brought to you by hi-rez Studios and Tier Monster. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you guys in a few minutes. And we are live into the second game featuring Dcypher Esports facing off against VWS Gaming here. VWS coming off the back of a strong win from game 1 here. But Dcypher look like they want some revenge here.
Yeah. Dcypher, it is a best of 5, so, they lost the first game, it sucks, but they're going to be able to bounce back from it, try some new strategies if need be. They can still retain any pocket strats they have for one more game. If they do, in theory, lose this game, of course, then they'll have to pull something out to make sure they don't lose to a 3-0 sweep. But for now, they can still play a little cautiously if they want, find things where they need to. And also, random thought, while people are just doing farms, try out an Agni skin. I do love that skin. We were talking about this before. I need to go get some referrals to get that, because that is a really cool skin with the voice pack.
As I said during the break, Verbal, just get good in multi-box. Get good, bro.
I don't have that many hats.
Give it the old Dark Souls try and get good.
So yes, going into this Zhong versus Agni matchup, if Wlfy plays his cards right, this could be very dodgy for Darzer.
This is going to be a painful matchup for Darzer early on.
Yeah.
I mean, especially until he gets those meteors. Agni in general will struggle against a lot of these stronger mid laners in the early fights here. It's now FleuryQ on this Chaac jungle. They'll be setting up for an early fight here, and it's going to be really tough, even with the extra damage Thor has. But there we go. Throwing him on in. Dcypher actually going to not find those, I think.
Yeah, it looked like, if you look at the graphs, yeah, that went the way of Dcypher by the looks of it. And a little bit of poke coming out. Darzer taking a decent bit from the Archer minions. He did clip FleuryQ. Oh, speaking of FleuryQ, takes the double tap from the other but goes back in. He's going to be very careful.
Yeah, Wlfy's got the body block though, and now he's got the slows online, so Wlfy gotta keep FleuryQ safe for now. But the real story is BigManTingz going big in the duo lane right there. Finding a double kill for Ares. Supportable combat starts early today.
So, yes, the double cripple into the Searing Flames, the extra HP base damage doing work against Xingqian there. That's going to be really nice for an Ares support, because you want to be a bully early and getting first blood and then another kill on top of that definitely helps towards that goal.
One of the big things we actually discussed a bit before we came into this game was the fact that Dcypher Esports actually have a fairly solid counter team to what VWS has. VWS have got a lot of ability, focus, mobility, like you said, but Dcypher, they've got a cripple on Ares. They've got the Fields of Love for the cripple as well. You have Pikachu for the stuns on both his wall to deny areas, and the Amble Dawn here, and Wlfy is just going to be that stable, solid solo lane Ra. And one of the reasons Ra used to be so popular way, way back in the solo lane mage meta day was he was just a stable, he's hard to push out of lane, he's got his heals, he's going to be healing in these team fights, and he's got a little bit of extra CC immunity on his ultimate there, so he's just such a stable god to deal with. Just one of both his biggest strengths and arguably his biggest weaknesses. Doesn't really stand out too much.
Yeah, he can do work, but he... Oh, actually, that's one of the bonus. His ult is on such a low cooldown, he can afford to use it for wave clear. You know, he doesn't have any cooldown items, and it's already gonna be up in approximately 1 minute. That's a quick cooldown. Ares, though, pops the ult. That's a two-man pull in the duo lane. Zig's taking a lot of damage from the chains. Bushyyy gets the kill. Dcypher doing very well right now. Pikachu comes with the gate off the Anvil of Dawn. That's gonna be another 2-0 sweep in the duo lane. VWS having an unfortunate time right now.
And we said Dcypher, they wanted revenge, and they're showing it this game here. Coming out strong in the first 3 minutes of the game. 4 kills to their name already, and putting up a fight all across the board here. Leveraging the strengths of their composition so far, and so good here. And across the board, with lanes going like this, it's going to be hard-pressed for VWS to find a way back in this laning phase here, so we might see an early transition if VWS want to try something here. But for now, Dcypher Esports just going to start trying to pressure things out. We're seeing a lot of rotations from them as well.
Yeah. Pikachu is going to be really annoying for VWS, because VWS, they don't have a Janus because he was banned out. So they're not going to be able to go, oh, Thor's trying something, we can see him on a ward charging up to go into the sky. Retirement space, dash through, dropship style. Though looks like Pikachu going to be looking to lay the damage onto Wlfy. Wlfy does pop the recall demons, doubling his protections from his demon bag. But
they're all gone already.
Yeah, they're
gone
dash. Yeah, the dash and the teleport is going to suck for them in terms of... Oh, that's actually going to be a 1-for-1 split on those mid-harpies there. Yeah, that was 1-for-1 split.
Yeah, a 1-for-1 split going in favor of neither side here, but Dcypher Esports more than happy to take whatever they can get here and pull their lead further and further. Backs coming through, buffs respawning here, so we'll see the jungle clear game start to break out, and so far, one of the things I actually really like about this raw pickup here is the fact that it's neutralized Ducky fairly easily there. I mean, Soul can't play her normal game of harassing me later if she's got to focus on hard clearing this wave that's already gone.
Yeah, and on top of hard clearing, Ra can heal himself and the wave. Admittedly, he puts himself at risk of getting hit by any kind of stellar burst, but at the same time, if that does go off and the minion wave is still live, you just throw down the... Yeah, you throw down the blessing, and you sit in that and just run around with the speed of light passive.
So
that's going to make it really hard to clear.
Yeah, with one of Soul's big advantages nullified, we're going to be relying on Ducky to really get to that point where Soul becomes that hard carry later in the game if they really want to get that huge impact here. But Soul, still a dangerous threat, even outside of the laning phase here, so always has to be lurking in the back of the line. As long as Ducky can farm up nicely, he's going to still become a major threat come the later stages of the game.
Yeah, and Dcypher here, I may be wrong here, but I would like to say that they're on a clock right now. They're doing very, very well early here. But the longer the game goes on, just look at the composition of VWS. Every single person on that team has big AoE, either in damage or in stun, or both in some of the characters' cases. So, come the big team fight, you know, we're seeing those big fights around the junctions Wlfy and the junctions of Fire Giant. That's going to be a real pain for Dcypher, even with the, you know, the Ares chains, burning beads, cripples, and that kind of thing. That is still going to be a big problem for them to overcome come late game fights.
It's going to be a big problem here, but it's something they can definitely overcome as long as they can keep pushing on like this. And now VWS, they recognize this as well, so they're just going to back off and play it safe, getting the farm on all the carries here. And one thing that's always a major factor in these later fights go, the healers that you have available to you, and in this case, a Zhong always tend to be the tide turners. If you can't kill that Zhong, we saw it last game. Wlfy became so tanky near the end of it that there was almost no killing him. He won't get that monstrously tanky this time around. I mean, at least in proportion to Dcypher's damage, but he's still going to be a massive monstrosity in meat wall. You have to cleave your way through here. But so far, both sides having a bit of a face-off here. Chains landing across the board. The pincer might be looked for from BWS here, but Bushyyy might turn it around instead. Tries to find the heart bomb, but no such thing will be realized today here. VWS going to instead back off and just keep their everything safe for now.
Yeah, there's not a lot VWS's dueling can do in terms of an effective pincer. They could have tried for it, but actually no, with engagement into the mid lane, Ares beats are going to be used, but the beads will be deployed by Ducky to avoid the ultimate. In comes the one with the Rage Steel into the silence from the Chaac ult. BigManTingz is very low, he's going to get dropped. Thor comes down, doesn't find a target unfortunately. Medusa Death Gaze will not find anything. Pikachu very low, getting DPS, and there's the charge. Is going to decimate Pikachu. That's going to be 2 for 0 trade in favor of VWS. Let's see if they can find something else. Although Bushyyy looking to pick up Jacob, he will find it with a combination of the Heart Bomb into the Fields of Love and a couple auto attacks. Make that 2 for 1. VWS, they are not out of this by any stretch of the imagination.
It's far, far, far from over for both sides here. Dcypher learning that quite quickly. They're still going to fire back on quite a few cylinders here, finding kills somewhere at least. So Dcypher not going to be losing too heavily in that fight still, but it is a fight finally going the way of VWS Gaming, which is exactly what they want to start looking for at this point in time here. Now, Dcypher want to try to find ways to press their advantage somewhere as well. Wlfy takes quite a bit of poke from Ducky right there, but you know, he's got the heal online. He'll be fine and dandy for now.
So, it looks like both of the team's hunters this time taking slightly different routes, although actually a little bit of a... That Ra Snipe came very close to hitting Wlfy and getting the camp, although it looks like he just hit the camp there. Both are going to Dcypher. BWS are grouped up. They could try and get a pick here. I doubt they're going to want to siege the tower. They just want to go for mid-camps and just try and spread the XP out.
You don't want to siege at this point, especially as VW. Yeah. You don't want to start your siege, not yet at least. I mean, it's not really great for them to siege in here. Their poke isn't quite fully online yet, even with the axe tosses from FleuryQ and the poke cards from Wlfy. There's enough healing on the side of Dcypher right now, and the damage just isn't quite there for VWS as it stands, especially due to the experience differential.
Yeah. So, right now, that experience differential is what I talked about before the fight started. Dual lane, unfortunately, for VWS had a really bad time, you know. Dcypher getting 4 kills very quickly plus First Blood. So, that's going to give them that level, as you know, level 9, level 10 on BigManTingz Bushyyy versus level 9 and level 7 on Zigox and Jacob. So they're not able to, you know, challenge them effectively because they just have a raw level advantage. And at this point in the game, you know, a couple 100 points of health and 1 or 2 points in ability damage will swing a fight in your favor, especially with an Ares.
Especially with the gods that Dcypher have on this team side, they scale incredibly well off these XP differences here, and that's one of the reasons they're able to actually start bullying effectively against VWS right now. They're going to have to look for more advantages here, but VWS actually might look to start their own here. They're going to get the Gold Fury awards taken down from Dcypher right here, and now Dcypher looking for a few ways into this, but VWS once again already evacuating here. Let's talk about Wingtons for a bit here. What realistically is Dcypher going to look for here if they want to close this game out before the time bomb, like you says, goes off?
Grab Wlfy, start sieging. Because right now, VWS, they have decent poke, but not enough to get over the healing of Dcypher in an extended engagement. So VWS, if they get pushed over in these fights, Dcypher will have a very good chance of sieging towers because they have the double source of healing and big physical damage coming out of Bushyyy and Pikachu. Although it looks like Bushyyy had forced to actually pop the dash to get away there. It looks like VWS are just looking for kills right now. They are just roaming constantly.
Yeah, and VWS want the same thing as Dcypher here. The flight comes through from Ducky, he's looking for his way in, but up goes Thor, able to don ready to crash and burn somewhere, but Dcypher going to escape. Neither side quite finding any kind of advantage on each other just yet. So, once again, a clash, but no blood just yet.
You could feel the tension right now. I wish we could listen into the comms, because both of these, well, I wouldn't say both. You know, Dcypher got the advantage, you know, they're just farming up, Bushyy's staying in lane, that forces Zigox to stay. VWS are just itching to get some sort of fight and start pushing, because right now Dcypher, they do have the advantage, they're slowly losing it, you know, 2.5k XP, 1.8k gold, but it is going down. Although it looks like over at the purple buff, Jacob is going to be able to almost get away with the skin of his teeth. Bushyyy very low as well. Zigox, he might die from the intestinal rip. Nope. Looks like Bushyy's going to get killed there, but Jacob gets the revenge kill. That's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. Pikachu spinning to win. You can just pop the ultimate. JustLofes comes in. He has the heal. BigManTingz is restoring his health. Jacob forced to only sit on the side with a furious roar. Pikachu will pick up FleuryQ with a nice double tap. The snipe over the wall. Jacob just getting melted there.
Can't find the fight. Dragged him into it. Here is now Wlfy. Wrong place, wrong time. Gonna get burned out. Does go for the Aegis. That will buy him plenty of time and safety from the Agni dot, but it doesn't matter. Fire Giant. It's being ignored, actually. Wlfy is going to be going down here, but Ducky is pushing. He said they've got the response from Ares right here. He's going to do what he can, and he's going to get quite a bit of damage on the tower here. Going to just completely neutralize a lot of the potential threat to VWS right there with that split push. However, BigManTingz still right around the corner, going to prevent Ducky from taking too much more off the back of that, but goes even here in the end.
Yeah. Ducky
but
right
still,
now,
it is a massive climb in gold in favor of Dcypher right there. 2k right now, and a 3k experience lead, but very good job from Ducky to actually minimize the damage it takes from that.
Yeah. Ducky, at that point, he was able to grab the tower that forced Dcypher back. They weren't able to go start positioning themselves to start pushing up towers. And if Ducky really wanted to, if those fights start breaking out, he can keep pushing. That's going to force at least one member of Dcypher to come respond. And each member of Dcypher brings something heavy enough to the table, which makes it a problem for VWS, either through area denial, the cripple we talked about, or healing, that if they even remove one member out of the fight temporarily due to them having to reposition, that is a big gain for VWS.
Yeah, big gain. Let's see if they can get more out of it here. Now, we're back to that reset position here. Dcypher Esports now have a fairly solid lead, one of the first major ones of the game. Experience difference is climbing quite quickly as well, and that's going to start to get exacerbated even further here as these gods, well, some of them still have some decent peaks and plateaus to go through here. Pikachu going to be nearing one of his soon enough, as well as now BigManTingz also going to be trying to keep things up over his opponent. We're going to see a bit of a reset here as both teams mostly looking for something here. I am expecting a little bit more ward control to come out of this game now, as we saw both sides played a heavy ward game last time around. Even when they were behind, Dcypher Esports were putting up some massive sentry wards and numbers here, so I just want to expect Dcypher to try to choke the life out of VWS via vision.
Yeah, cheeky teleport there by FleuryQ getting away from Pikachu. We're seeing less of those fights constantly in the jungle. It's mostly around, the mid lane, that area, so you know where they're going to be. You need only those wards up at the junctions and around the mid-harpies to know where people are. BigManTingz, blinking in with the ults. Will he get anyone? That's a nope.
Yeah, he's got the bead, so that's what you want from that. He pulled the bead tax. That's going to be a pair of bead 2 and 3 down, so the tier 3 beads on Soul only back up fairly shortly here, but there's plenty of other wits from the start of these fights now, and removing the CC removal from this page is going to set things up so well for Bushyyy in the fights to come here with that Fields of Love. The stun, if he has it set up, or the mez, even if he doesn't, will be difficult, if not inescapable completely, and Darzer at the same time going to have some massive stunts at the back of those Noxious Fume Meteor combos if he wants to, but they've only got 2 targets to go for here. Pikachu, mostly a duel with no real results here as well. Now the real fight begins. JacobHL finds a Whirlwind of Rage and Steel, tossing them about here. BigManTingz, though, taking none of it right here. Invladon up and down, ready to land somewhere. He finds a one-man dunk on the side of JacobHL right there, but Pikachu needs to escape as soon as it can. The fight not quite going as heavily as Dcypher wanted it to. They're just going to back off and let VWS continue their game here. Just clear out this wave quite easily.
Yeah, not only did they get beat, they got Wlfy deploys out as well. And now the re-engage. Here's the re-engage by VWS. Now that the cripple is down, they can go in. Pikachu will get stoned out by the Gorgon's Gate, but he's going to be forced to beat that. Darzer very low from this heavy sustained fire, literally in Salt's case. Although Ducky's going to get finished off by Pikachu. Wlfy gets a revenge kill on top of that with a nice use of the dot damage from the slow. Now this is a 4 versus 3. Well, really, 4 versus 2, BigManTingz is forced to stay back. He really can't afford to go in. You know, 1 or 2 good bits of poke is going to take him out. Zigox is going to go back here. BigManTingz going into the middle of VWS. He just have team to bag him up. The re-engage has begun. They do have heal from JustLofes. Oh, hang on. No! Jacob gets away.
Right yeah, they're not really getting anything right there. It was mostly just buying time for VWS right there to get their full retreat. And Dcypher, despite what they wanted, couldn't quite fully commit to that. Wlfy just didn't have enough mana to keep going here, neither did BigManTingz. They backed off and took the safe approach there rather than keeping that up. They did take Ducky out of the fight, which prevented a lot of extra loss of life there, as Ducky was being an absolute monstrosity in these fights here. 2-1 and 2 right now, bringing out plenty of damage to the table as well. In fact, looking at the damage graph right here, he and Wlfy sit at the top by quite some ways, being 2k over their counterparts right now.
Yeah. So, at this point, you know, things, you know, it's decent engagement. Oh, re-engagement here, actually, by Dcypher onto VWS's Wlfy. In comes the Whirlwind of Rage and Steel, but immediately followed up by the Ares.
So
Jake is going to get pulled back. Darzer, he might get... No, he's not going to get taken out, but Bushy will get taken out in the backlines by Wlfy. But Bushy getting 2-man focus. BigManTingz comes in with the nice use of the chase. Zigo does pop the Gorgon's Ace, forcing beat out. Ducky finishes off Bushy with a supernova. Jacob getting 3-man aggressed on by Dcypher. Pikachu getting the killing blow. Unfortunately, Searing Pain didn't find Ducky. He was disapparated, so he's immune to damage. Ducky with a nice unstable burst. BigManTingz getting eliminated. That's going to be a 2-for-2 trade even. Nothing really gained, nothing really lost, although Dcypher, their momentum is just kind of pittering right now. They're not really accelerating, but they're not really losing anything right now, and that's good for VWS. You know, they're not losing towers.
They're stalling them out, which is exactly what you want here. You want to pull back in, you want to even things out as best you can, and usually stalling is one way to really go about that here. As long as you keep Dcypher from finding extra objectives, they can't really exasperate a lead any further here. Even just a clash and like a trade of kills, the kills aren't going to amount to too much at this point unless Dcypher can find something off the back of it. Some extra farm, somebody's lane completely free, a tower, mid camps even, or maybe even a gold fury, which is the prize in everybody's eyes right now. They've got to find something off the back of this fight, and VWS Gaming just completely denying it from them here. But Dcypher, they're still trying to find that way, and they still can do it at the same time. Even in these team fights here, Wlfy starting to reach that critical mass there. As you noticed, Bushy had to overcommit incredibly heavily to actually find the kill, which turned things fairly sour for Dcypher right there.
Yeah, and that kind of overcommittal on a carry is very dangerous because, of course, you know, Cupid especially, you're going to want to have him in prime position to pop ultimates where he needs them to shut down any shenanigans, you know, FleuryQ, not being able to teleport in, Jacob being able to jump out, you know. Jacob was able to jump away from BigManTingz' chain, which stopped him from getting crippled. And that kind of mobility is the only real problem Dcypher's having right now. Most of these fights, they do get battered back heavily, but because of the healing and the raw DPS they have right now, because of the level advantage, they're just able to storm back every time.
And that's really going to be the deciding factor here is now VWS. They want something else here, but Dcypher Esports now going to be playing very cautious here. Less of a vision game, more of a tavern brawl right here, this game. So We're seeing a lot of action this time around, despite only being 11-7 here. A lot of skirmishes, but very little blood here. It's now the Gold Fury Dan going out in full here. Pikachu up in the air, looking for his point to crack. He finds 2 there, and now BigManTingz looking for the change, finds the pull in. But here we go, all the action breaking out of full. The rest of Dcypher's backline being chased down. Darzer going to get obliterated by FleuryQ, and the rain of fire from Zhong here. Lopez still so low, Wlfy going to burn him down. And now Pikachu tries to juke, but FleuryQ finds the double as Zigox takes down 1 more in the backside. BigManTingz, last man standing, but there's a full 5-man roster chasing him down. The Deicide comes through, 2 doubles for 1 right here, and the Deicide is real, right outside the Gold Fury. But VWS, they want more. They've got stars in their eyes, and Fire Giant, he looks mighty fine right now.
So, it looks like that figurative clock I was talking about has just hit 0. VWS have enough levels now and points as to where their teamfight is getting really effective to break through the healing and just outlast Dcypher. Dcypher burn all their stuff, but VWS are still up, and they have enough big CC to be able to lock out fights, and that's going to reward them with a free Fire Giant for all 5 members of their team, and decent enough map presence because of towers falling, that they have many options they can go for right now.
They have a ton of options as well, and now Dcypher, well, they're running low on their chances here. The Fire Giant is down, and well, they didn't even have vision, but they had to know that something happened there as they likely saw the entirety of the VWS roster walk over. They're going to show up, see the Gold Fury alive, and definitely realize that Fire Giant is down at this point. They're going to take this Gold Fury as quickly as they can, so that's something going in their favor at least, unless Zigox pulls off a miracle steal here again. But we've already had our 1 for the series here. Dcypher going to be the one that takes away this Gold Fury for sure, as now VWS looking to close in from all sides. For all intents and purposes, this game was dead even, but now it's looking pretty strong in favor of VWS with that Fire Giant stat buff on their side, despite the gold still trending in favor of Dcypher right here.
Just look at the drop, though, Sosa. It was basically even yet, but Dcypher had the level of gold advantage, but VWS had the towers. Yeah, but now, because that VWS have both the nullified XP and level advantage, and they're getting towers, and the Fire Giant, this game is thoroughly in their favor. VWS, that vengeance that they've been looking for after last game, it looks like it's coming through. The Pikachu
he's not going to find anything, unfortunately, Pikachu unfortunately lands in the wrong place, just starting things off big for the rest of VWS. Now VWS the ones looking for the fight here. BigManTingz pulls them all in, but there's nobody left to respond here. It's just a tower, and BigManTingz alone in the dark, burning out quickly. Ducky is the one to find the kill here. A double off the back of that detonation. He's looking for more. Tries to find his way for the triple, but he's got no supernova left to fire off here. Instead, he kills his victim, walks away, and is more than happy with a double kill as well. And now VWS, things are up to 11 here. Dire Strait has finally been reached for Dcypher here, and they're up a creek with no paddle, and they're trying to wade their way out of this with their hands.
So, VWS, sieging very strong right now. They've hit that point where they can just go, oh, there's tower damage. That's cute. And Jacob blinking under tower here, going for Pikachu with the Hog Slam, although he will be punished and destroyed by Bushy. He's going to be able to auto-attack him down. Bushy does have the Executioner plus a full Transcendence online, so he is doing a lot of damage, and penetration being as valuable as it is right now, that Executioner is going to be doing work to the extremely tanky Zhong, and now it looks like Ducky is forced to get away from any harm, but VWS looks like they're going to be re-engaging here.
Yeah, VWS have got a good re-engage. They can't fully find the way to Ducky on the side of Dcypher Esports right there, so Ducky simply pulls him in and reels in a nice catch there. The catch being a Pikachu here, but instead of catch and release, they just kill him and take the meat and walk away.
People eat Pikachus?
You don't?
What heresy is this? Oh my.
You don't?
No! I was saying cover tactician would kill me!
Oh, well, I apologize there. I will keep this one. I will keep my cannibalism safe and sound then, I guess, because either way now, Pikachu, the one to fall in the end here, is VWS. I simply baited him in and took him down, like I said.
Yeah. So right now, VWS, they've got 2 towers down in 2 lanes, and so lane only has a single tower left. Fire Giant is going to be coming up in a 1 minute 30 roundabout. And what can Dcypher do here? Well, they have enough levels. They're not drastically under, they're only under a little bit, you know. The big difference really is BigManTingz being level 14 while Jacob's level 15. And they could still fight fairly well. It's just VWS have that Fire Giant buff and have that momentum in their favor. And in a best of 5, that momentum, that comeback potential, really just drives people.
Like, the big thing going for VWS right here is the fact that now they've lost their Fire Giant, but still, they're now about 4,000 gold ahead, and they're one of those late-game teamfight comps, like you said here. Their AoEs, their ultimates, starting to reach these max levels on the important characters here. Wlfy, just a few short moments away from finally hitting level 20. And once he gets to level 20, he's going to drop a massive amount of damage and healing in his ultimate right there. He's going to be such a hard wall of fat to stop here. Same thing goes for Ducky right now. He's already level 20. His ultimate doesn't really need the damage on it, but it's the items that he wants, and he's nearing that capped on items. He's looking for these final few luxury items, especially with what he's got. He's going to be so difficult for them to shut down on the side of Dcypher Esports right here, that even if they catch on to him, can they actually kill him is the question.
Yeah. Right now, VWS, they won the first game. They have momentum going into the second. Dcypher did very well early on, and now that the figurative stopwatch has ended, we've hit mid to late game. VWS have that full control. Dcypher at this point are going to be looking for a good team fight, which is about to begin here. Dcypher are split up here, although looks like VWS's FleuryQ is very low. Gets taken down by Bushy. Ultimate for ace deploy, but so does the Whirlwind of Rage and Steel. Ducky is going to get picked up by Pikachu in the backlines. Now Bushy's going to be forced to try and flutter away as fast as he can. The missile from the Recall Demons, and that's a helicopter death to Bushy. Wlfy picking up the kill there. Aegis is used to avoid the most of that damage. That's going to be 2 for 1. JustLofes is going to pick up a extremely nice snipe there. That's going to be now 2 for 2 here, and it looks like they're going for more.
The cavalry is still in full swing for VWS here. Dcypher, they've got to take them off their horses here. BigManTingz getting the chase going. They've forced Wlfy away, but there's just tons of damage coming out of their main carries here. The double threats go almost untouched in both of these fights here. Wlfy low, but still surviving here, and Ducky was able to just have anything he wanted in the back lines of this fight here, going virtually untouched here, sitting at about 3/4 of his health right here. Might finally run into a Darzer that'll take him down a little bit, but Lofes, the only person to really show up and give him any kind of threat, will find the beam over the wall. But now Ducky, he's going to watch on and give up this tower here. Dcypher, even though they're down and out a little bit against a team fight comp here, they are far from done, and they won't be stopped that easily.
Yeah. Even though VWS, they have relatively pulled ahead, Dcypher, they are absolutely, not out of it. The only place that they're objectively out of it right now is sieging. Their Phoenixes are vulnerable, and the amount of split push we've seen Ducky do today, that is a very dangerous possibility.
We saw one.
We see one, but it was very very
quick. Important one. Yeah, it was
so,
very key split push to this game.
But as I was saying, Ducky, all he would have to do is go over to left lane, take down that Phoenix, and that is an ideal situation with VWS, because that is the opposite side of the Fire Giant, and Fire Giant is the big contested objective right now, as VWS are going to be starting it, and let's see if Dcypher can respond.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain they've got to have some idea what's happening inside of Dcypher Esports. We'll see the Pikachu spotting this one out. He runs right into JacobHL, but HL, he's got the zone potential right here. He's going to keep Pikachu out for now, but Fire Giant falling fast. He's got no way in. VWS get it, and now they're on the hunt for more. They're going to walk away from the team fight. Instead, they're going to go straight for the BigManTingz right here. They're going for the tower, the objective. They get the wave push going, and they want to take this game. They want to take a hold of it, and they want to run wild. They want to take this to a game 3 and 3-0 the series here. But Dcypher, they don't want to let this one happen. They've got to find something here. Is this momentum going to be a massive thing for VWS here? Bushy almost getting caught out a bit too much there. Ducky not quite finding the kill here, but he still sets up his ward. And now Dcypher, they're showing up, but they cannot afford to fight at this tier 2 tower.
Yeah, and they can't afford to be routed and split up like they did in these last 2 fights. Dcypher, they can do very well together with this comp. They've got a lot of AoE, but VWS have the means to effectively kill them if they get split up. So if they can stick together, they do have a very good chance of pulling this back.
They can pull this one back, and this game is still far from over for now. VWS, they're the ones that control this one. BigManTingz starting up with a 4-man pull, but only a little bit of follow-up here. Not really enough to deal any damage to JacobHL and Ducky. They're just so tanky right now. FleuryQ in deep here as Pikachu misses the Amphiladon. Darzer getting absolutely slaughtered right there. He's in electrical, but he escaped for now. And the Titan is under attack here. Phoenix is falling left, right, and center as they move towards possibly the third Phoenix of the game now. We're going to see JacobHL getting in deep here, trying to keep the distraction going here. As Dcypher, they want to fight back here. Fields of Love going down as Bushy finishes off JacobHL, but Wlfy's in deep here. He's keeping everybody zoned away from the Phoenix. He's going to try to give his life, but he's not going to give enough here. A double for Bushy here as he looks for more. They're going to push on forward as the rest of VWS. They get the Phoenix, but at what cost is the question here? FleuryQ going in deep. Lopez tags Ducky, but he's already in the Incorporeal right there. He's going to be fine, and Danny for now. Bushy doing what he can to dodge around the back. The health bars for Dcypher are so low, and FleuryQ looks like a monster right now. He's going to drop the damage. Heart Bomb will carry on through here. Finds the Axe Toss, but finally they fire back onto FleuryQ here, and he needs to play it safe. They're trying to find the able to double. Pikachu can't quite land the damage he needs. Looking for Ducky, stun connect, double tap. One more for Bushy. Can he find it? No, the Heart Bomb's going to miss here. The Titan's under attack as well. And Dcypher, they're just getting pulled away from his low. VWS trying to buy time here, but Dcypher will push on through and stop this for now. But somebody's got to go back and keep the Titan safe, as there's 3 waves of fire minions pouring in from all sides.
Yeah, Bushy's doing it. And it looks like, though, Dcypher are just running for kills right now. I don't think this is smart. They need to go back, regroup, and defend. They may get a pick or two, but right now, you know, VWS, they've opened the floodgates. Fire Giant is going to be up in 2 minutes. In 2 minutes' time, that is going to be the next big fight. Dcypher need to try and fortify as much as they can. You know, try and, you know, ideally, try and push up a wave or two before that happens. That is going to be hard considering fire minions on their own push very fast, and this entire time VWS are going to be able to go back, you know, start picking up 4th, 5th items, even 6th. You know, we're seeing, you know, on, for instance, Zigox, we're seeing Rage fully built. He's going to be going into most likely Deathbringer, maybe a Malice, you know, we'll see what he decides to do. But on, you know, on Ducky, we're seeing, you know, fully stacked Warlock Sash. We also see the fully stacked Warlock Sash on Wlfy. I'm surprised we're not seeing Keensai or Soul Reaver come out to punish that amount of health being built here. Look at the amount of health being built, Sozu. You know, we see Pestilence, Hide the Urchin, Gem. That's so much health.
Even then, it's not going to be as effective as you really want to, as it's just one big chunk every, well, short few moments here. Is actually Goldfear going to be started and paused here. This one should be about 2 minutes of pause from what I'm hearing. Yeah, FleuryQ has DC'd here, so this should be about 2 minutes of pausing or less, so we finally have time to talk about this game verbal. What really, other than the health, do you really think that the Soul would really be good for in a situation here, or Shinsai?
Not even the Shinsai would be more so. Well, Shinsai, obviously, it would go on people, you know, Bushy, for instance. That'll be a really nice pickup. Maybe Pikachu could benefit, but Bushy, you know, that would be an unconventional pickup for a hunter. But Bushy, he's been able to reliably hit the big targets consistently because, you know, he hasn't been able to find Ducky because he just disapparates his way away, and Zigox has just been sat in the back line. So if Bushy picks up something like a Keensai, that constant health damage is gonna chip through Jacob, Wlfy, and FleuryQ really nicely, and Ducky's going for the Warlock Sash as well. He's got the Wing Blade that gives him 300 more health. Itemizing against health with those items can actually be a really effective punish, just as long as you can keep QPOing away. Of course, you know, Soul Reaver, as you mentioned, it's a one-time burst, but it's still a big burst.
Here's the problem, these items are so expensive. Where do you realistically find, like, where can you realistically find this gold at this point in the game is the real question, especially for the people that you mentioned it on. These items, like, Soul Reaver and Shinsai are incredibly expensive for what they do here, so at this point in the game, is it really worth it is the real question, especially if you're going to delay so much, maybe finding that other big crit item that we might see Bushy wanting here. That's the big question that you really have to think about here.
The crit is going to help. The amount of raw protections and health is going to be an issue to break through. And the Keensai, this is more my personal opinion. I like that kind of style of, you know, are they building health? Let's build against it. Of course, you know, crit in theory is the highest damage you can do with a nice bit of pen as well. You know, we're seeing things like Executioner. That's going to drop physical protections across the board. That'll help out Pikachu as well. So but like you meant, that is actually a very good point. The expense of the items, and at
like
this point, Dcypher
building in a MOBA is very much like a cost-benefit analysis. You have to be like, all right, how much is this item worth relative to how much it costs? And that's how you pick what's the good build to go for, even in the forms of counter building as well. And you can't just say, oh, they're building this, we have to build this in a lot of cases. Considering the expensive things. You gotta understand, money is very limited in MOBAs at the end of the day. There is a set amount of gold on the map that increases as it goes on, mind you, but there is still that set amount of gold on the map, usually. Guaranteed gold, at least, not counting kills and the like.
Yeah. And admittedly, it doesn't help that Dcypher, they're going to be pushed back. They will get a little bit of farm from taking out fire waves, but still, being pushed back that heavily is going to be hard to afford those kind of big items, so we'll see what they decide to do. I want to see how VWS now decide to push. Fire Giant is up in exactly 1 minute, and both teams want to contest over it. Is VWS going to try and do the same thing they did last time, and just bait them in, grab it while Jacob just kind of spins around and is a distraction with the Whirlwind of Rage and Steel? Or are they going to maybe go for the jugular, look for a few more picks, get the Fire Giant, and just go for the win?
Well, I'm expecting them to try to make something happen here at the end as we get towards the 33-minute mark. Death timer's going to be insanely long at this point as everybody nears that level 20 mark. The jungler and mid laner for Dcypher are still the big members that still need that level 20 here. The support, only level 17, but he's going to be just fine where he is. Same thing across the board for VWS. Zigox is the only one on this team who's not quite level 20 yet, but he's still just moments away from that one as well. Inches at that. As well as JacobHL, only being level 18, but as you can tell with all the tankiness he has right now, that hasn't really been a major concern for him at this point, I'd say. As now Fire Giant looking to respawn here. We see it reconstructed. Dcypher Esports, not where they need to be, and they can't really afford to get there. They've got to keep their Phoenixes safe.
Yeah,
especially with them respawning, so like,
yeah,
they just gotta defend them for now. They cannot really contest this at all.
It sucks for them, being in this situation. That Fire Giant is going to go for free, but at the same time, they're going to have their Phoenixes up, ready to go if they want to fight. They will have to recharge, and it looks like VWS are just going to go on the death march here. They want to get rid of that Phoenix before it recharges. It's going to take a miracle play.
It's going to take an absolute miracle play from Dcypher here. This is VWS's game to lose at this point here. But Amladon is up. We're ready to start things off here as we go for the pull. He's going to land, but nobody gets pulled on the side of, VWS. Now Dcypher, they're on a complete retreat here. There's only one more Phoenix up. The second one finally respawns as well. FleuryQ, it's a huge bit of damage from a Zigox. Already burning to the other side of the Phoenix here. They're mostly just buying time across the board. Pikachu getting absolutely demolished by Ducky right there. Still sort of for now back at the fountain here. Dcypher trying to play the sustained game here, but can they stay on long enough here? The Titan coming under attack here as Fire Minion still alive from the last wave. Rain of Fire coming down from Soul. Pikachu, he's on his last leg. Will he stand up long enough? Yes, he makes the fountain for well, and he will swim to safety here. As now Wlfy, he's going to try to find a way deep. There's a BigManTingz lurking around here. Snipe hits Zigox. They're firing off once every 20 seconds at this point here. And now the damage is way too much from BWS here. Dcypher getting shoved back into their fountain once again. Ducky, he finds the kill here. The Titan falling quickly. It's down to 5,000, 4,000, dropping faster. Amladon back up once again. Everybody's group of Pikachu. Wrong place, wrong time. It's game over. 34 minutes in. VWS will take game 2 of the series. We're down to the wire here. Can Dcypher pull it back for another reverse sweep? Or will we see VWS carry on through with their momentum?
Well, the evidence in their reverse sweeps have happened. This is the exact same situation we saw yesterday with Neil M. They were down 2-0. They come back 3 games in a row. They could do it. The potential is there.
It's so difficult
right now,
as well.
Dcypher just keep getting routed in these fights. Every time they want to go for something, they just get beadsed and then just routed. Is it a case of bad decision-making in fights, or is it even just picks? Are their picks just not helping them in these fights? That's the big question, and I want to see how they decide to go through picks and bans for the 3rd game, because, as I mentioned earlier, now's the time you want to do any pocket strats, because it's the only time if you lose.
Well, we got to wrap things up quick as we get ready to go into Game 3, so do stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after a short break with Game 3 of this series. Don't go anywhere. It's a Smite Games Challenger Cup brought to you by Tier Monster and hi-rez Studios. We'll see you guys in a bit.